Yeah, he gon' work the 9 to 5, then he hit the block and put in overtime. Young nigga gon' get it. Early morning in the kitchen. Go ahead and check the chicken. The money always been the mission. My mama said, what are you cooking? I told her I'm whipping the pie. She asked if you all of my friends. I told her, no, these be my guys. And my young niggas gon' get it. My young niggas gon' get it. My young niggas gon' get it. Watch the young niggas gon' get it. Young niggas gon' get it. Early morning in the kitchen. Go ahead and check the chicken. The money always been a mission. Fuck all these bitches and fuck these bitch niggas. Hello to my haters, I see you hoe later. I'm coolin', I'm coolin', roll back with paper. See me, I smoke different. See me, I move different. You do too much talking, I sit back and listen. If it's not about the money, I don't pay attention. If it's not about the money, then I do not get it. If it's not about the money, my name not to mention. My mama knew I was a winner. My daddy seen all the shit in me. So fuck everybody's opinion, cause no one was really there with me. I just took the heat out the oven. I'm breaking it down with my guys, cause they was right there through the struggle. So I make sure they all get a slice. And my young niggas gon' get it. My young niggas get the chicken. My young niggas gon' hit you. My young niggas.
Greetings, family. I hope this day finds you well. This is Dr. Shanelle of Access Global Ed Talk, and today we have a special guest on the show. Mr. Todd Lucky Johnson is on the show. He is with us today. Mr. Johnson, introduce yourself to everyone.
Peace and blessings, everyone. My name is Mr. Todd Lucky Johnson. I'm an aspiring filmmaker. I am an author. I am a director. I am a screenwriter. I am a dad. I'm also a son. And I'm happy to be here and very thankful that Dr. Shanelle has invited me to be on her show.
Fabulous. Okay, so you sent your book over to me, and I know you have more than one, but you sent me the first one, and I read through it, and I got tons of questions. First off, what gave you the idea to basically write this book and tell the story the way you decided to tell it? Also, I just have to say you are a fabulous storyteller. The minute someone opens up your book and begins to read, they're like, okay, he's a storyteller. So what sparked it? What was it about?
First and foremost, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Well, you know, being that we real people and real people have real lives, and I was at a point in my life where I was going through some real drastic changes. I was coming at a turning point in my life. I was incarcerated doing a violation, finishing up on a bid, and while I was incarcerated, I just was in my head real heavy because there was a lot of things going on in the world. Just had my firstborn. And I decided to write a book about my life. I always wanted to write. I've always been a writer since a kid. At 13, I was a rapper. And you know, I just had a niche for writing. I was always told that you're a good writer or whatever have you. And when I found myself in that situation, I just started putting my pain on paper, but I was telling a story about my life and the things that was going on in my life. And I let someone read the story just for some confirmation, because I never had actually wrote a story. I just was good for writing poetry when I was younger, and a lot of rhymes and music and stuff like that. And when I let this guy read the story, he was really taken aback by it. But he was taken aback by it so much that he actually was just like, "Yo, you can't give this to the people. This is too deep. Like, you have to really, water this down if you're gonna do this and do that." And the advice that he gave me was, why don't you just write a fictitious book like everybody else is doing? And at this time, the book market, the genre of urban fiction was like really popping at the time. Like it was really like it wasn't too saturated at this time. And I gave it a shot, and I let everybody in the compound and that was in my house read it, and everyone loved it. And it was just like, yo, you got to go home and make this a number one.
All right. So after you wrote it, you got good feedback, so you decided to continue writing. How has that process, the process of writing, changed you or impacted your life?
Yeah, good question. Well, actually, when I started writing the fictitious, the novel Influence, a lot of people that actually read it wonder, is it really a true life story? Because the way it's written, but it's a fictitious tale, but it has a lot of things in it that, people can relate to. So it kind of makes it surreal for a lot of people when they read it. But once I finished the book and came home from the violation, I was like literally a free man. I was no longer on parole. And just to get a little personal, throughout my life, I've been on parole since I was 16 years old. So that was the first time as a teenager and as an adult, that was 34 at that time. That was the first time that I've been off paper, not in the system for anything, not owing anybody any time. Just literally a free man that could go around the world if I wanted to. So
right. Could do anything. Right.
Anything. Like I could get on the plane and don't have to tell nobody where I'm going or have to come back at a certain time. I was just free, literally. And when I came home, my first thing was to get the book published, but I didn't know anything about publishing a book. So I reached out to a couple of people. Somebody pointed me in the direction of a publisher. As soon as I went to the publisher, he wanted me to lawyer up real quick. I didn't have no money because, like I said, I wasn't prepared. I just thought that I could write a book, and being that everybody in prison liked it, I felt that when I come home, it'd be accepted and somebody just grab it and it'd just take a blaze. But subsequently coming home, I got sidetracked because the money that I needed, the seed money that I needed to get the book published, it wasn't there. It wasn't available. Everybody was kind of like putting me on the back burner, not in a bad way, but just I don't got it right now, and I get it to you because I know that this is going to be a hit. I know it's going to be good, so I want to invest, but I just don't got it right now. So what I did was what I knew how to do, and I resorted back to some old ways real quick to get some quick money, and in the process of that, some things from my past caught up to me, and I got shot up real bad. I got shot 4 times going into my house at 4:30 in the morning, and that kind of stopped the process for a very long time. But once I start rehabilitating, I continue to rewrite the book. I rewrote it, and then I self-published it at some point.
Okay, so you've been through a lot. Now, when we had our conversation prior to the interview, I mentioned that your story is no different from mine. My story is no different from yours. And now I got to speak on what I know for sure. When it comes to growing up in that type of environment, in just like hood environment, what I know is when you are raised in it, you grow up in it, everybody is in it, it has a hold on you. And people who are not in it don't really understand it because they look at it from a different perspective. Like, why would you want to, why would you want to do all this? But people who grow up in it, it's enticing, it's alluring, you want to be a part of it. It is inside of you, whether you a blockhead hanging out or you into making money by any means necessary, whatever. It pulls you in, and you can separate yourself from it if you are far enough away from it. But if you are near it's like it's magnetic and it pulls you. So how
Right.
have you been able to not be pulled back in?
Okay, let me start by saying this. Like you said, everything was so on point. What you said, it's sort of like gravitational pull.
Yeah.
Like, everything on this planet, you know what I'm saying, it can't really just lift up and fly away because gravity pulls it back down. And that's kind of like, I don't want to say it's a black thing. It's just it's a thing where sometimes your environment creates your circumstances.
Right.
And it conditions you, and it doesn't matter race, gender, color. It just, if you're caught up in it, you're kind of caught up in it. And sometimes it's very hard to pull away from it because it's what you know. But like you said, sometimes it's enticing. Sometimes it's the fast money, it's the cars, it's the women, or vice versa. It's the men that the women are attracted to, and it has this pull on you. But sometimes it's forced on you, and sometimes you have no choice because you grow up in that environment where that's all you know, that's all you see.
Right.
So it's no when you come out the house. In my case, crack was very prevalent in my hood in like 1984, and I'm kind of like an older dude. I'm 44 right now.
Okay, so I gotta say, crack was prevalent in all of our hoods in '84.
Definitely.
Okay, all of our hoods, and
that was the explosion.
Yeah. And we didn't have programs that were going to rehabilitate people. We just sent folks straight to jail. Okay, go ahead.
Right. Well, that's I mean, in a lot of ways that was designed. That was the plan to break up families and destroy, the black male and the family structure. But at a young age, I was 11 years old, and damn near everybody in my family that was older got hooked on crack at that time. So, being that I was so young, I had to fend for myself, and I'm my mom's only child. So I was used to having everything that I wanted when I wanted it. And when that explosion happened, it kind of didn't resonate that my life would change the way it did, but I was affected in every aspect of it, as far as being the only child, not having what I want, being used to it. This being a young male, being this happening in front of my building was like a major get money area, and literally when I walked out the building, it was just like, yo, shorty, you homeless from me. And that's all it took. And since that time, I make up no stories. I tell the truth. Since that time, from 11 years old to maybe the last 10 years, I was kind of caught up in a world that had a gravitational pull on me. It was just so hard to pull away from it because it took, I think, I'm not a religious dude. I'm spiritual. So it was a lot of things that a lot of signs that was given to me along the journey to change and to stop doing what I was doing, everything that I had my hands in. But I just saw it my way until I got sat down. And when I got shot up, I was paralyzed for a minute, and that kind of sat me down and made me realize you have to change your life. You're not gonna get this is the last. You didn't listen to nothing else the whole journey. So this was it. This is what I needed. The Most High needed to do to me to put me in a situation where I really had to sit down and think about, all right, what is my next move? You know what I'm saying? What are you going to do with the remainder of your life? Because if I put you back on your feet, or if you get your walk back, or whatever, what are you going to do? Are you going to resort back? Are you going to get revenge? What are you going to do? So that's the question you asked me. That's kind of what really being sat down for a little minute. I was paralyzed for a whole year, couldn't move, and slowly but surely things start coming back, and I was in rehabilitation for 18 months. But during that time, my son was growing. I had to make a change. It was just imperative to make a change, because if I didn't make a change, I think I would have died.
Well, it's good that you were able to make a change without totally leaving the state. You know what I mean? Because I know people who actually have to, I need to get up out the state because it's holding me down like that, And
right.
It's funny how people can judge. I don't know why you can't stop, and you should be able to stop. All this done happened. You should stop. I'm like, man, y'all don't know the hold. You
Y'all don't
don't know the
understand.
hold.
Yeah.
I'm speaking from real life experiences. You don't
Mhm.
know the hold that it has
Right.
on you. So your characters in your book. Let's talk about the characters.
Okay.
They are complicated characters,
Mhm.
and they evolve. So
Mhm.
let's talk about influence.
Okay.
Let's talk about influence. Tell me how you developed that character.
All right. Influence is um influence is a couple of maybe one or two dear friends to me.
Mm-hmm.
That are real life people
Mm-hmm.
that are no longer here.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also me. He's
Right.
also like my alter ego in a serious manner.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I have friends that are similar to the character of influence, similar to, as in resemblance, like face, height, and things of that nature. But far as influence the character, and I gotta add fictitious, he just embodies everything that. Because when I write, I'm thinking in movie form. So when I started with, you know, the actual title is what I wanted to base this character, what he embodies, because influence is like persuasion, power, good or bad. You can influence somebody to do bad. You can influence them to do good. And I wanted this character to have a conscience, but at the same time be like a real serious, no nonsense kind of dude. And you know, Ivan Fumar Ferris is just, you know, who this character is and was.
Okay, now tell me about the other character. Tell me how you developed Lucky without giving too much of yourself.
Okay, yeah, that's deep because, like I said, the whole idea was I was telling my life story in a book. And
Right.
the book was entitled. The book was going to be an autobiography entitled Mister, because Mister is a name that was given to me by a woman that's still alive, actually, Clenora Smith-Britt. And she was just, when I was born, she just said Mister. You know, she just gave me the title Mister. So the acronym for that would be Made It Surviving Through Extreme Reality, but that was going to be the title of my
Hold on a second.
So,
say it again for me. What?
Made It Surviving Through Extreme Reality. It's an acronym for
Okay.
Mister.
Okay. Go ahead. Finish.
So the character, as like I said, the guy who convinced me to write Influence was a guy by the name of his name is Tragedy Gaddafi. He lives in Queensbridge. He was like the first young rapper with the Juice Crew, with Marley Marl, Big Daddy Kane, Cool G Rap, that whole Juice Crew era back in the mid '80s. So he was actually explaining to me like, "Yo, boss, I'm somebody, and you know, I'm like the first young rapper before Nas. You know what I'm saying, in Queensbridge, and I have a story, but I can't tell my story because I have to spoon feed him first." So when he kind of came at me like that, that's when I said, all right, I'm gonna write a fictitious book. So the character influence is bits and pieces of how I would want my serious side to be, and Luck Bills is actually the alter ego to influence, but the more professional. Because like I said, I was a rapper since the age of 13, and I did have a label at one point. So these were, as I'm writing the book, like I said, I do it in movie form. So these are things that I wanted the people to visualize on screen, that Lucky or Luck Bills was moving into another area in his life where he was tired of being this guy that was an armed robber, that was doing, you know, robberies, and now he got the opportunity to develop artists, and he took it real serious, and then he got a label deal where, you know, he made his first couple of millions of dollars, and you know, that was always my dream. So that's how I developed Lucky, but at the same time, I had to make him compatible for Influence, because Influence just needed somebody to look up to, because he didn't have nobody. He respected people, but he didn't have no role model. So Luck Bills was kind of like the person that can actually sit him down and talk sense to him when nobody else could.
Okay. Now, you write, like I said, you tell a story when you write. The words you use are vivid. And that brings up your web series. So writing is not all you do. There is more to you than just writing. You are a creative spirit, and you have a web series. Do you want to talk about your web series?
Sure. Yeah, what I was explaining to you, the Mister was, like I said, it's been an old name. And I always, seldom I hear it, like, but family called me that. And after writing Influence, I wrote Rise to Power. I wrote Moxie, The Language is Better, and I wrote Power Struggle, The Conclusion. It's a 4-book series. And I didn't know that I could do that. You know what I'm saying? When I wrote Influence, I was shocked that everybody in the prison liked it, that I let read. Then I was shocked when I actually published it. I published it when I was in the hospital. And while I was in the hospital in rehab, I was there for 18 months. I published my first 100 copies, and everybody in the hospital, from janitors to doctors, nurses, therapists, they all supported me and bought the book. And I just was writing the book for people in prison, I thought. I didn't know that people was going to take this story and be like, yo, this is, because it had grammatical errors in it. You know what I'm saying? I did everything hands-on because I didn't know how to do it. So when everybody accepted the story, and I realized, okay, Influence was a real good book. And then I moved to, when I got out of the hospital, I moved to Connecticut. And I just started writing my other books because I felt confident to be able to write more stories. So then I wrote Rise to Power, then I wrote Moxie, then I wrote the 4th book. And I just said, you know what? Now it's time to tell the story that I wanted to tell in prison when I was writing my life story. So I came up with the idea of making Mr. Made a Survivor to Extreme Reality, an accident for Mr. And I did a movie. We shot a movie about my life, about everything that I've talked about being in prison, about coming up with the idea of Influence. I wrote a movie about that whole, it's a short film, excuse me. And we shot that professionally, professional camera, red camera. We did everything professional. But again, I was a novice. I didn't literally know what I was doing. I'm the type of person that when I want to do something big, I don't want to wait around and get people to co-sign it and get investment money, because everybody want to tell you how you got to do it, and then it's not your vision no more. It's somebody else's vision that puts money to it. So I just wanted to tell a story my way. So when we shot the movie, I actually literally shot the movie. It's not like a Get Rich or Die Trying. It's not like a 7 Mile. Not like any other movie you saw that's based on a true story. This story is based on a true story that's really a real story. So it's not no Hollywood. It's just some real stuff going down. It's shot very well. My cinematographer, Jamal Solomon, is a good cinematographer. He really helped me out during that journey. And what we did was we used actual locations where actual events transpired. That's what makes the movie kind of like a real situation. So when I explained to you earlier that I got shot pretty bad, I actually used the same house and reenacted how everything happened. It was just I was using making the dramatization of another character portraying me. So that was the only difference. I wasn't portraying myself. And from that, we developed. I started wanting to create a buzz about the movie. So the guy that was playing me in the movie suggested to me to do a web series, and I was just like, nah, because the plan is to do the movie and then turn Influence into a motion picture. Like, they'll create the buzz from the movie. And so he was like, I really think you should look into this web series and that. So make a long story short, I did, spoke to one of the executive producers, which is my godbrother, and myself. We sat down and I was just like, let's do a web series. And we have funded ourselves. And let's just get it started. Let's just do it. So we made it survive into extreme reality to making it survive into extreme reality, the web series. So the web series is bits and pieces of real life, but it's still a fictitious story. And basically it's based on some of the same characters that was in the movie, but we added more characters to tell a more entertaining type of story. So Mr. The Web Series is, it's an offspring from the movie, but it has its own entity.
All right. Okay, so you also said you rap. Do you still rap?
I kind of stopped. I got a little old. I got a couple of gray hairs, and I walk with a cane. So I didn't think that'd be cool to be on stage, trying to be cool. But I did the theme song for Mr. The Web Series. I still record every now and again, and it's still my first love. But being a filmmaker and a writer I like being behind the scenes now. Like I never was kind of like I never was a shy person, but what do you call it? An introvert?
Yes, an introvert. An introvert.
Yeah, but I'm an introvert. I'm not antisocial, but I'm not scared of myself. So I like being with myself, and I like, I enjoy me.
Okay.
So the rap thing kind of like, I still love it. I still like developing talent. Like if you watch the web series, you're going to see that I add a lot of hip hop music and R&B because that's still my first love. So what I do is tell people to submit music to me. I listen to it, and if it fits the scene, then that's just a way of us cross promoting and each one teach one.
Right. All right. So, what do you have going on? What's up and coming for Lucky? What's up and coming for you?
Well, right now I'm in the process of finishing up on season 1. We still got like 5 or 6 episodes. Left for season 1. I haven't really been as consistent as I should be, but a lot of things going on in real life that I had to address first. The movie has to be released this year, so that'll be released this year. The movie, and the web series will be closing up on season 1, and then after that, once the movie is released, I'm going into I'm the type of person that stick to the script. So, Influence's novel has to. That's my dream. That's my baby. So it has to be on the big screen in the near future. Even if I just shoot a trailer, and start trying to get the trailer into these big wigs offices so they can see it. However it go, that's the next move, and I just pray that it's the blessed move because I'm really loving this filmmaker thing because I didn't go to school for it, so I don't know how it's just a gift, and I'm thankful for the gift, and I don't want to, like, when we receive blessings, we can't be picky about our blessings, and we can't be ungrateful for our blessings. We can't not use our blessings because if we don't use them, then it's like I'm lost for words because I know what I want to say, but it's just that when you get blessed with something or blessed to do something or blessed to affect people's lives, you're not supposed to take that for granted.
Right. And that's it. When you get blessed to do something, you're supposed to do it. Because if you don't, God will use someone else.
Or take it away from you.
Yeah. Okay, so how do we find you? How do we find you as an author? How do we find your web series? How do we get young folk who are interested in rap and the industry to connect with you? Where are you at? I mean, if I got people who want to know, where are you at? Give us some information.
All right. Like I said, I'm really a real dude. I'm just, I do my best to be as humble as possible. I don't got no cockiness or arrogance in me whatsoever. So I'm just one of those guys that I haven't created a website. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like I just got to connect with the people where I connect with them. Whether it be I'm on I'm on Instagram as LuckBills286, LuckBillz 286. I'm on Twitter as LuckBills, same spelling. I'm on Facebook as Todd Lucky Johnson. And my email is Rackateerin, it's spelled Rackateerin @gmail.com. And what I tell people to do is, you know, the thing that I'm into, my film company is called Rackateerin Filmz. And I don't want to scare people by that name. It's just that that's the racket we into. And the stories we tell are sometimes streety, sometimes they're very soulful. Like if you watch this last episode of on Mr. The Web Series, it's entitled "To Whom Much Is Given, Much Is Required." It's episode 7, and it's on YouTube. You can go to youtube.com/luck286, and what I do is I tell people to go to the email, submit headshots, submit music, submit whatever you feel like. If you're the type of person that's a hustler, you're very ambitious and you're grinding, and for whatever reason nobody is like feeling you or hearing you, like I'm that ear. So I'm not the ear for whackness or for corniness. If it's not appealing to me, then I'll listen to it and I'll give my, be as humble as possible and say, well, work a little harder, or I can't do nothing for you right now, but I know a couple of people, whatever. But if it's really dope music and you're really ambitious and you're really dope, and for whatever reason you can't get that, I'll do my best to plug you out if I gotta plug you. Whether it's on Instagram, I'll put up pictures, I'll put up your music, I'll put it in the web series, I'll do whatever it takes, because we're getting views. So I feel like like the first episode of on Mr. The Web Series, we got 112,000 views, and a lot of people that I use their music, they got, recognized by that episode. And a lot of people want, a lot of people were requesting, like, I need that track. I need the soundtrack. So that's the business I'm into. I think one hand wash the other and both hands wash the face. And we all, as black people, we need to stop acting like we don't like each other. I know, slavery and just the generations and the Jim Crow eras and the drug eras and everything played a part in destabilizing us as a people. But at the end of the day, at some point, we got to come together and kind of like, put the bullshit to a side and come together and start really working for each other. Right.
No, you're right. It takes a village, and, each one teach one. We all got to work together to get this thing going.
Definitely.
What is the quote by Muhammad Ali? Service is the rent we pay to be here on this earth. Something like that. How do you serve? Service is the rent we pay. And so it is our job to serve. Okay, now, closed mouth don't get fed. So, if you ever need like the professional type, I'm just saying educator, professional type in a scene, holla at your girl. I'm the one you want.
Yeah, we locked in. We connected. I'm definitely, and likewise, you utilize me, whatever, like, that's what we here for. So, it's that's a good plug, but definitely I'm going to reach out. You already know.
I'm just saying, I'm putting it out there. I'm your girl if that's what you need. Anything else you want to share? Anything else you want to talk about? Because I want to make sure you get your message across. I like what you're doing. I like what you're doing with your books. I like what you're doing with your web series. I like what you're doing with empowering other people, because that's what it's about. We have to educate, encourage, and empower. And hopefully we can pull someone else into this thing we call entrepreneurship, because we can do it. And we can build it together, and we can be our source. We can depend on one another and connect with one another and be our source. That's what we need to do. And so I commend you for all of your efforts and everything you got going. All right, family. This is Dr. Shanelle of Access Global Ed Talk. Today's guest, Todd Lucky Johnson. He's got a lot going on. Look him up. He's on YouTube. He's on Instagram. He's on Facebook. He's on Twitter. Look him up. Check out the web series on YouTube. Follow him. Reach out to him. DM him. He will get back to you. You know, together we can make this happen. And so make sure you look him up. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Google+. You can also find us on YouTube, iTunes, and Google Play. This is Dr. Shanelle. Enjoy your day. Connect with us. Let us know what you are up to. Let us know how you are feeling. Until next time, family, be well.
Peace and blessings.